In the early hours of February 3, 2018, in Gainesville, Florida, a 911 call reported a violent home invasion. Michael Reuschel, the caller, claimed that an intruder had broken into their upscale home, attacking him and his wife Susan, leaving them both stabbed and bleeding. This incident marked the beginning of a complex and shocking case that would captivate the local community and beyond. What seemed like a straightforward case of a break-in gone horribly wrong quickly unfolded into a narrative filled with suspicion, betrayal, and legal intrigue. As investigators delved into the details, the initial story of an unidentified assailant began to crumble. Susan, recovering from her injuries, would soon turn the tables on her real attacker. The Reuschel case, rooted in the affluent neighborhood of Gainesville, would expose the undercurrents of a troubled marriage, financial disputes, and familial discord, challenging perceptions of domestic tranquility and security. As we explore the Reuschel case, we uncover not just a narrative of crime and legal battle, but a deeper story about the complexities of relationships, the shadows that lurk behind closed doors, and the lengths to which people will go to protect their version of the truth. This is the story of the night that changed the lives of Michael and Susan Reuschel forever, a case that raises as many questions as it answers about love, loyalty, and the law. Michael Reuschel and Susan found each other in a way many do in the modern world, through an online dating platform, Match.com. It was August 2005 when their paths first crossed digitally, marking the beginning of a relationship that would soon transition from the screens of their computers to the shared spaces of their lives. By 2007, their connection had deepened sufficiently to lead them down the aisle into matrimony. Following their marriage, the couple made a significant life decision, moving to Gainesville, Florida, a place that promised a fresh start and new opportunities. In Gainesville, they settled into a lifestyle that many would envy. Their home, located in an upscale neighborhood, became a symbol of their success and the life they were building together. Michael, with a career that had flourished over the years, brought financial stability and the means to enjoy the finer things in life. Susan, embracing her new role as Michael's wife, found herself in a world far removed from her previous life. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic existence, the dynamics of their relationship were complex. The transition from online chats to married life in a new city brought with it challenges that neither Michael nor Susan could have anticipated. As they navigated these waters, the strength of their bond and their ability to communicate and support each other faced tests that would shape the course of their relationship. These early years in Gainesville laid the groundwork for the events that would unfold, revealing the fragility and the depth of their connection. In the Reuschel household, the dynamics were further complicated by the presence of Michael's adult daughter, Caroline, from his previous marriage. The relationship between Susan and Caroline was far from harmonious, marked by tension and disagreements that often left Michael caught in the middle. This familial strain became a source of constant conflict, adding layers of complexity to Michael and Susan's marriage. Caroline, who had a close bond with her father, found herself at odds with Susan. The reasons for their disagreements varied, but the outcome was always the same: a household divided. For Caroline, watching her father navigate his relationship with Susan was difficult. She felt that Susan's entry into their lives had altered the family dynamic in ways that were hard to accept. One particular point of contention was Caroline's wedding in 2017. The event, meant to be a celebration, instead became a battleground for these strained relationships. Disputes over the wedding's cost and arrangements highlighted the deep-rooted issues between Susan and Caroline, further intensifying the family's internal conflicts. Through all of this, Michael attempted to maintain a balance, but the tension between his wife and his daughter created an undercurrent of stress that permeated their home life. Caroline's perspective on her stepmother and the impact on her relationship with her father painted a picture of a family struggling to find common ground. Amidst the challenges, the fabric of their family was tested, setting the stage for the unraveling that would follow. The period leading up to February 3, 2018, saw the Reuschel family tensions reach a new high, particularly over financial matters. Among these, Caroline's wedding in November 2017 stood out, becoming a focal point of dispute between Michael and Susan. The wedding, a grand affair, came with a hefty price tag that far exceeded initial budgets. Michael had informed Susan that the wedding would cost a significant sum, but the actual expenses ballooned, creating a rift between them over the financial strain it placed on their resources. This disagreement over the wedding cost was not just about money. It symbolized deeper issues in Michael and Susan's marriage. Susan's displeasure with the extravagant spending on Caroline's wedding highlighted her ongoing struggle to accept Caroline's place in Michael's life and the financial priorities it entailed. For Susan, the wedding represented a culmination of her concerns regarding Michael's relationship with his daughter and the influence it had on their marriage. The conflict over the wedding expenses added to the already existing tensions within the household. Arguments became more frequent, and the atmosphere in their home grew increasingly strained. Michael found himself torn between his loyalty to his daughter and his commitment to his wife, struggling to navigate the delicate balance between the two most important relationships in his life. As the disagreements persisted, the foundation of Michael and Susan's marriage continued to weaken. The discord sowed seeds of resentment, casting a shadow over their relationship. This period of unrest set the stage for the night of February 3, 2018, when the underlying tensions would erupt into an incident that would change the course of their lives forever. The disputes over Caroline's wedding costs, emblematic of the broader challenges in their relationship, were a harbinger of the dramatic events that were to unfold, marking a point of no return for Michael and Susan. On February 3, 2018, a call to 911 broke the stillness of the night in Gainesville, Florida. Michael Reuschel was on the line, reporting a harrowing attack within his home. He claimed that an intruder had invaded their space, resulting in both he and his wife, Susan, sustaining stab wounds. This emergency call prompted an immediate response from local law enforcement, who rushed to the scene, prepared to confront the violence described. Upon arrival, officers were met with a scene that was both chaotic and puzzling. Michael and Susan were indeed injured, but the expected signs of a break-in were conspicuously absent. The house showed no signs of forced entry, no broken windows, no jimmied locks, nothing to suggest an unwelcome visitor had forcibly made their way inside. This lack of physical evidence contradicted the narrative of an external assailant, raising immediate questions about the true nature of the incident. The initial investigation focused on securing the scene and providing necessary medical attention to the injured couple. Michael's account of the events, that an unidentified intruder had attacked them, served as the starting point for the police. However, the absence of any signs of forced entry or disturbance around the home cast doubt on this intruder narrative. Investigators began to consider alternate scenarios, probing deeper into the circumstances that led to the call for help. As the night progressed, the complexity of the situation began to unfold. The lack of forced entry suggested that the story might not be as straightforward as initially presented. This early discrepancy hinted at a more complicated web of truths and lies, setting the stage for a thorough investigation. The events of February 3, 2018, would soon unravel into a narrative far removed from the simple tale of a home invasion gone awry, prompting a closer examination of the relationships and tensions within the Reuschel home. In the aftermath of the 911 call on February 3, 2018, as Susan Reuschel was treated for her injuries, the story within the walls of their Gainesville home began to shift dramatically. Susan's injuries were severe, including wounds to her neck, stomach, wrist, and thumb, painting a grim picture of the attack. The gravity of her condition prompted immediate medical intervention, highlighting the seriousness of the incident. As detectives delved into the investigation, a critical piece of evidence emerged that further questioned the intruder narrative. A kitchen knife from the couple's own set was identified as the weapon used in the attack. This discovery was pivotal, tying the violence directly to an object within the home and suggesting a personal element to the crime that couldn't be ignored. Susan, recovering from her wounds, provided a statement that turned the case on its head. She accused Michael, her husband, of being the assailant. According to her account, there was no intruder that night. Instead, she described a scenario where Michael was the perpetrator, attacking her amidst a backdrop of marital discord. This accusation challenged the initial intruder theory and redirected the focus of the investigation towards the dynamics of the Reuschel marriage. The lack of forced entry, combined with Susan's accusations and the evidence of the knife, cast a new light on the events of February 3. What was first reported as a violent invasion by an unknown assailant was now being scrutinized as a domestic altercation with potentially deadly consequences. Susan's serious allegations against Michael not only challenged his account, but also unraveled the narrative he had initially presented to the authorities. This shift in the investigation marked a turning point in the case. The focus expanded beyond the physical evidence of the attack to explore the underlying tensions within the Reuschel household. Susan's accusations against Michael prompted a re-evaluation of the evidence and a deeper inquiry into the couple's history, setting the stage for a complex legal battle that would delve into the intricacies of their relationship and the truth behind the violence of February 3, 2018. The trial that unfolded from the events of February 3, 2018, captivated Gainesville, Florida, as Michael Reuschel faced accusations from his own wife, Susan, of attempted murder. The courtroom became a battleground for two starkly different narratives. On one side, Susan painted a picture of a violent attack initiated by Michael, spurred by her declaration of wanting a divorce. On the other, Michael's defense aimed to dismantle this account, proposing alternative explanations for the night in question. Susan took the stand, recounting the harrowing details of that February night. She claimed that after expressing her desire to end their marriage, Michael attacked her, resulting in the severe injuries she sustained. Her testimony aimed to solidify the prosecution's argument that Michael, driven by anger and fear of losing his assets in a divorce, attempted to take her life. Michael's defense team, however, presented a contrasting portrayal of the events. They introduced evidence and arguments suggesting that Michael had no motive for such violence and that the couple's relationship, despite its problems, wouldn't lead to murder. The defense scrutinized the absence of forced entry not as a sign of Michael's guilt, but as a question mark over the real circumstances of the incident. They suggested that the couple's tumultuous relationship might have escalated into a mutual confrontation rather than a one-sided attack. Key to Michael's defense was challenging the credibility of Susan's narrative, highlighting inconsistencies and alternative explanations for her injuries. They delved into the couple's past, bringing up instances of conflict that could suggest a different story from the one Susan presented. The defense strategy was not merely to refute the charges, but to paint a broader picture of a complicated marriage where truth was intertwined with perception. The legal battle was intense, with both sides presenting evidence, calling witnesses, and engaging in heated exchanges that kept the courtroom and the public on edge. The prosecution relied heavily on Susan's testimony and the physical evidence from the crime scene, while the defense countered with their interpretation of the same evidence, suggesting that the story was not as straightforward as it seemed. As the trial progressed, it became clear that the verdict would hinge on whose narrative the jury found more compelling. Would they see Michael as the aggressor in a violent attempt to silence his wife? Or would they interpret the incident as an unfortunate escalation of ongoing domestic strife with no clear aggressor? The contrasting narratives presented a complex puzzle for the jury to solve, setting the stage for a verdict that would have profound implications for all involved. After days of deliberation, on a day that marked a turning point in this case, the jury returned with their decision. Michael Reuschel was found guilty of attempted murder against his wife Susan, along with 4 additional charges that underscored the gravity of his actions on that fateful night of February 3, 2018. This verdict was the culmination of a trial that laid bare the tumultuous and complex nature of Michael and Susan's marriage, presenting a narrative that had shifted dramatically from the initial 911 call reporting an intruder attack. The courtroom, filled with tension and anticipation, erupted into a mix of emotions as the verdict was read. For Susan, the jury's decision was a validation of her account of the events, a moment of vindication after enduring the physical and emotional scars from the attack. On the other side, Michael and his supporters were met with disbelief and despair, as the verdict painted a starkly different picture of the man they knew, one now labeled as an attempted murderer. The sentencing phase followed, where the judge, weighing the severity of the crimes and the circumstances that led to them, sentenced Michael Reuschel to 30 years in prison for the attempted murder charge. The additional charges brought more years to his sentence, although these were to be served concurrently. The sentencing not only marked the legal conclusion to the case, but also set the stage for the next chapters in the lives of those involved. For Michael, the conviction and sentencing meant facing the reality of spending the next decades behind bars, a stark departure from the life of luxury and freedom he once knew. For Susan, the trial's outcome offered a sense of closure and justice, though the physical and emotional wounds from that night would take much longer to heal, if ever fully. the implications of the verdict and sentencing extended beyond the confines of the courtroom, resonating with the Gainesville community and all who had followed the case. It served as a grim reminder of the complexities of domestic relationships and the potential for hidden tensions to escalate into violence. The case of Michael and Susan Reuschel, with its twists and turns from a reported home invasion to a trial for attempted murder, left a lasting impact, prompting discussions about the nature of truth, justice, and the often unseen struggles within a marriage. In the immediate aftermath of the trial that concluded with Michael Reuschel's sentencing on attempted murder and other charges, the personal and social repercussions began to unfold. For Michael, the verdict meant a transition from a life of affluence and freedom to confinement, dramatically altering his future and identity. The man once known for his success in the tech industry was now confined to the limits of a prison cell, his relationships with family and friends strained under the weight of his convictions. Susan Reuschel, on the other hand, faced the challenge of rebuilding her life after the trauma of the attack and the subsequent trial. The verdict brought a measure of justice, yet the scars left by the ordeal, both physical and emotional, lingered. In the wake of the trial, Susan sought to move forward, her sense of safety and trust deeply affected by the events of February 3, 2018. For Caroline, Michael's daughter, the trial and its outcome marked a period of upheaval. The conviction of her father on such serious charges impacted her deeply, testing the bonds of family loyalty and love. Amidst the legal battle, Caroline found herself navigating a complex array of emotions, torn between her love for her father and the unsettling nature of the accusations against him. Beyond the immediate circle of the Reuschel family, the case had broader implications for the Gainesville community and the public at large. The story of the Reuschels, with its elements of wealth, betrayal, and violence, sparked discussions about domestic violence, the complexities of marital relationships, and the justice system's role in addressing such deeply personal conflicts. Additionally, the case saw further legal proceedings related to marital assets between Michael and Susan as they navigated the complicated process of disentangling their lives from one another. Moreover, charges of murder for hire against Michael, which emerged in the wake of the initial trial, were eventually dropped, adding another layer of complexity to the post-trial narrative. The aftermath of the trial and sentencing was not just a period of adjustment for those directly involved, but also a moment of reflection for the wider community, prompting conversations about the unseen struggles that can exist within seemingly happy marriages and the importance of addressing issues of domestic violence and mental health support. The Reuschel case, culminating in the events of February 3, 2018, and the subsequent trial, left a lasting imprint on the broader society and the Gainesville community. It ignited ongoing debates and discussions on the nature of domestic violence, the complexities hidden within the facade of affluent marriages, and the justice system's role in unraveling the truth behind closed doors. The public interest in the case extended far beyond the courtroom, as people grappled with the unsettling reminder that turmoil and tragedy can strike in any household, regardless of its outward appearance. For the community, the case served as a catalyst for increased awareness and conversations about the signs of domestic strife and the importance of offering support and resources for those caught in such situations. It underscored the critical need for vigilance and empathy, encouraging neighbors, friends, and family members to be more attentive to the well-being of their loved ones. In the wake of the trial, the Reuschel family, each member affected in distinct ways, embarked on their paths towards healing and finding a new sense of normalcy. While Michael faced the reality of his actions and their consequences, Susan and Caroline navigated the process of rebuilding their lives, each carrying the burden of the past, yet striving to look towards the future with hope. The case of Michael and Susan Reuschel remains a poignant reminder of the complexities of human relationships and the often unseen challenges that individuals face, emphasizing the community's role in fostering a culture of support, understanding, and justice for all its members. On February 3, 2018, in Gainesville, Florida, a distressing event unfolded in the home of Michael and Susan Reuschel, leading to a trial that captured the community's attention. The initial report of an intruder attack gave way to a more complex narrative, revealing deep-seated marital discord between Michael and Susan. This case is a stark reminder of how conflicts within a relationship can tragically escalate to violence. The journey from the night of the attack to the conclusion of the trial was marked by conflicting narratives. Susan's serious allegations against Michael, challenging the initial intruder theory, and Michael's subsequent conviction on attempted murder and additional charges highlight the complexities of determining truth within the justice system. The legal battle brought to the forefront the nuances of evidence interpretation, the weight of personal testimonies, and the challenging role of the jury in piecing together the fragments of a shattered relationship. Reflecting on this case, it's essential to consider the perspectives of all involved. For Susan, the verdict may offer a sense of justice and a path toward healing from the physical and emotional scars of that night. For Michael, the conviction represents a dramatic fall from grace, with years ahead to contemplate the actions that led to his current reality. For Caroline and the broader community, the case serves as a poignant lesson on the hidden struggles that can exist behind closed doors and the critical importance of addressing issues of domestic violence and supporting those in need. The Reuschel case underscores the tragic potential for marital discord to escalate into violence, highlighting the need for greater awareness, preventive measures, and resources to support individuals in crisis. It also reflects on the justice system's role in navigating the delicate balance between accusation and proof, emphasizing the significance of a fair and thorough judicial process in seeking truth and justice. What is the nature of truth and justice in the complex tapestry of human relationships, especially when those relationships are brought into the courtroom? The events of February 3, 2018 in Gainesville, Florida, and the subsequent trial of Michael Reuschel prompt us to ponder this question. Are there alternative explanations that could shed different light on the incident between Michael and Susan Reuschel beyond what was presented and concluded in court? This case opens a broader discussion on the societal implications of domestic conflicts escalating to legal battles. How does the legal system navigate the murky waters of marital discord, where private grievances become public spectacle? What does this tell us about our collective understanding and response to domestic violence? Moreover, consider the impact of such high-stakes legal confrontations on the families involved and the community at large. What measures can be taken to prevent these situations from reaching a point of no return? How can society better support individuals in troubled relationships before they spiral into violence? As we reflect on the Reuschel case, let's delve into the complexities of the human heart and the legal system that seeks to adjudicate its conflicts. How can we, as a society, foster a deeper understanding and compassion for those caught in the throes of marital turmoil? And how can our justice system ensure that truth and fairness prevail, even in the most complicated of human dramas? This case leaves us with more questions than answers, inviting us to engage in a thoughtful examination of our roles in creating a society where justice is served and individuals feel supported in their most challenging moments.